Hello, I'm Ben. Welcome to the channel. So today I read something a little interesting about archaeologists that dug up the oldest gun ever found in the United States, which dates back 5 centuries. So when you look in this, in September 2020, Denny, spelled D-E-N-I, Seymour, an archaeologist, was searching for artifacts along the Santa Cruz River near Nogales, Arizona. She was exploring a few months there looking for relics left behind by the Coronado expedition, which was a Spanish conquistador. This is pre-America, right? 5 centuries. Francisco Vázquez de Coronado led from what is now Mexico into the modern-day United States in 1540. Seymour's first find came in July, and now she was systematically scouring the southern Arizona site looking for and finding more. When she got the reading back on the metal detector, she thought she'd found a church bell or something because it was deep and came back heavy. I thought it was either church bell or a metal canister that perhaps, who knows, had a note or something in it, she said. It had a green hue and the mark of oxidized bronze or copper, and was partially ensnared by the roots of a mesquite tree. Mesquite trees in Texas and in Arizona are these bramble bushes, briar-like. They have thorns that are just brambly. They don't get real big in the base, but their roots spread as far as their limbs do. So she dug further. With 4 decades of research under her belt, she started to feel the buzz of a pretty potentially significant find. "You've got to see this," she yelled out to her colleague. The object was longer than they thought, stretching out under the dirt. The excavation took hours. Seymour was wary of damaging the object or disturbing the context, so they had to call in colleagues for tools to tackle the thick mesquite roots. And it was a hot fall day with the sun beating down on them as they worked. It could be 90 degrees in Arizona in the fall. Eventually, there was a 3.5, so a 3.5-foot long cast bronze cannon. Seymour looked at it in awe. She felt overwhelmed by its rarity and its significance. "We were aware at that moment how important it was," she said. Seymour and the historical weapons expert William P. Mapoles, spelled M-A-P-O-L-E-S, wrote about the find in a paper published last year in the International Journal of Historical Archaeology. So you can look up that article if you like, by Seymour, and the other gentleman's last name is Mapoles, M-A-P-O-L-E-S, and that was in the International Journal of Historical Archaeology. And in there, they'll probably say a little bit more. The thumbnail of the video is going to be the picture of that gun, and it's like a cannon. It's a hand cannon, arm cannon. It's a yard long, so 3.5 feet long. So that could fire pretty good ways, probably, for its time. The cannon is a wall or rampart gun. So you'd mount it on a wall or a rampart, designed to rest on a parapet on an adobe house, a tripod in the field, or in a pinch, the fork of a tree. It weighs about 40 pounds, heavy by today's standards, but light for the 16th century, when it could be easily carried long distances on the back of a horse or a mule. That's pretty cool. Firearms from this period are scarce. Most were made from bronze, a valuable and easily reusable material, and were often forged into modern shapes or different items altogether. So a lot of them were lost because the metal was reused and forged for other things like tools and plows and things like that. They were also very expensive, and the Spanish explorers who carried them into the western United States were likely to expected to bring them back. And so that would be something they saved because the weapons are great. Not like the American military leaves billions of dollars worth of weapons in our enemy's hands when we leave. The cannon Seymour uncovered in September of 2020 didn't appear to have been fired. It was poorly forged but defective. Actually, that says it was poorly forged but not defective. Chronometric dating techniques suggest that it's lain in the floor of collapsed stone adobe structure for close to 500 years. The Coronado expedition crossed Mexico into what is now Arizona in 1540 and traveled to what would become New Mexico, Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas. In the exact route and location of various settlements, remains are debated as researchers continue to piece together their documentary and their archaeological evidence. The expedition returned to Mexico in 1542 without the riches that it hoped to find. And of course, it was a devastating situation for the local people then because of the diseases, and the fight against bronze and steel was very difficult for them to do. When Seymour first started exploring the area, she thought it was merely an overnight encampment, but then she found more artifacts and more came still. There was evidence of permanent structures at the site, and it swelled in size. So did the volume of artifacts. The flood of arrowheads, armor ringlets, ceramics, pieces of broken swords, daggers, and fish hooks. An encampment might have yielded between 2 and 10 artifacts, but this site had hundreds, if not thousands. Seymour is certain that the site was once a settlement called San Geronimo III, also known as Suya, spelled S-U-Y-A. Once we settled on Suya, I spent quite some time trying to rebut that idea. Ultimately, the evidence was overwhelming. She has since found 11 more sites running from Nogales up to the Gila River. Seymour said that it constitutes of 150 miles of trail taken by the Spanish explorers, one that, until now, had been overlooked. The area in the southeastern Arizona, Seymour said, is much more important to the Coronado expedition in its first series of contacts than we realized. So there you go. There's quite a bit of history around that. The gun is awesome. I may actually change the picture that I'm using for it, and I had the picture of the gun. But it's incredible that this piece of history has been found. If you like subject matter such as this and videos such as these, please like, please subscribe. I'm Ben. Be good.